What's up, guys? I'm Chris, and today you're watching a magic review on ESP Origins by Marchand De Trucs. Welcome to the channel, and thanks for tuning in. Please consider subscribing. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Comment on any questions that you have about the product I'm reviewing or anything you'd like to see in the future. Let me know your thoughts. Also, don't forget to click that notification bell so you don't miss a video or a review. Don't forget to head over to Facebook and join the Chris Edwards Magic Secret Access group. So that is a group that I have kind of based around this channel where I can interact with you guys on a more personal level. And I'm also going to be providing you with a more in-depth look on certain products such as Peak Wallets and other releases that I don't want to go into full detail to the public. There'll be unlisted videos where I will post direct links within the group, so those unlisted videos can't be searched. So check that out. The group's got about 400 members now, a lot of great people. We have some good conversation, and in there I can answer questions in a lot more detail than I will on here. ESP Origins is a full deck of ESP cards. So you have 25 cards, 5 of each symbol, your circle, your plus, your wavy lines, your square, and your star. On the back is a pretty interesting pattern. These are marked cards. This is a marked deck, of course. And the marking system is very good. It's not the easiest to read at first, but once you get the hang of it, it is easy. It's just, at first, I mean, I didn't know where the markings were. Couldn't find them. But with that said, the tuck case. I really like the detail that was put into these, not only in the design, the back design, but also on the tuck case. So on the front, you just have your basic ESP cards, and then here, developed in parapsychology laboratory, extrasensory perception cards, and on the back you have just the 5 symbols. So the thing I like about this tuck case is just with the design, the way it's printed, it looks vintage. It looks like these are old. So I think the more that you use these and the more wear that the case gets, these are going to look more authentic, and they're going to look better with time as they age, as with the cards. So the cards kind of have that same pattern where it looks like certain areas are missing or have been scratched away. So the more that you use these, I think the better they're going to look over time. What do you get in the packaging? So you get your cards in the tuck case. There are 25 regular cards, and then there are 2 gimmicked cards. There's a double backer, a double facer, and then you get another card that explains the marking system. Now, to go over the marking system, like I said, at first it's not the easiest to read, but with that said, that's not a bad thing either, because you don't want your participants noticing any discrepancies. And honestly, with this design, they won't. As a person who has dozens of ESP decks, I couldn't find the markings. And I looked for quite some time. You're just going to want to get used to looking in the right place. The quality on these, they're well made. I don't know who printed the cards, right? I don't know if they printed them themselves or if they were manufactured at a playing card company, but they are the same size as playing cards, poker size cards. They are card stock, and they have the same feel as like a bicycle deck. They feel well made. The quality on there is high. I mean, it says that these were developed in a laboratory, so maybe they printed them. No, I'm kidding, but I don't know where these came from. With that, I'll just give you a close-up on the back design, just so that you can see what they look at a bit closer. There is no tutorial on this. You're going to have to either know routines in advance or find a resource to learn some ESP routines, all you get as far as tutorial goes is a single card that explains the marking system. Difficulty level, once you get used to the markings and where to look, then it becomes easy. But again, you're going to have to just kind of take your time, get to learn these. So this should be the wavy lines. Yep. This one should be the star, so it's not difficult once you learn them, but it does take a bit more than some. Setup and reset is all going to be dependent on how you use these, what routines you're doing. Angles, this is angle proof, right? As with any ESP deck, typically you handle the cards, spectator handles the cards, you're both looking at the cards, they can look at these up close. So with that, they can be examined, they can be inspected, they can stare at them. They're not going to find the markings. Pocket space is minimal, half of a deck of regular cards, right? So a lot of people carry cards on them. That's kind of your comparison, half a deck. Is this a worker and who would use this? Mentalists. As far as being a worker goes, I would say yes and no. So these would be good in a close-up situation, but one thing that I think is really going to aid you in using these is your lighting. So I would not use these in a working environment where the lighting is dim, because I feel like with the marking system, it's not going to stand out if you're kind of in a darker environment. If that's the case, I would not use these cards in that working situation. But if the lighting is good, then absolutely. This is just like any other ESP deck. And with a good light source in a bright room or outside or anything like that, anything where the lights aren't dim, then these can absolutely be a worker for sure. Is it worth your money and the price? So it's a full deck, it's $20. Is it worth the price? At first, we're gonna kind of jump into the positives and negatives here, and that will kind of explain more on my thoughts on is it worth your money. Being a full deck, I mean some sets only come with 10 cards. This comes to 25, so that's a good thing. The other positives is that I really like the design. I love the vintage look of these, so that's a plus. Now, originally, I wasn't going to say this as a negative, but I do tend to prefer plastic cards when it comes to ESP cards, just because they're not going to wear, you can wash them, just the durability and the longevity of them. So originally I was going to say that, and that is kind of where that ties into, is it worth the money? Because plastic cards, you're never going to need to replace them, right? Unless they're handled very aggressively or bent so bad that you can't, get the bends out. Whereas cardstock, it can wear, right? It can get wet. Other plastic decks kind of fall into the same price range as this. So these may not have the durability and lifespan of a plastic deck, but I've kind of changed my thoughts on this in the sense that I don't want these to be plastic. And that is because I do want them to wear. Because of the design and the vintage look of them, I want these to get a bit bent and a bit worn and a bit faded. I think that will actually improve the look of the cards. So when it comes to is it worth your money, originally I was going to say I don't know because it's cardstock and $20, but I think that this is a better option going cardstock with these specific cards. If you're looking for an ESP deck that is very innocent in the sense that the name of the cards isn't on here, it just says ESP cards. There's no branding, there's no advertising, that doesn't say where they were printed. So with that, these look authentic, like they would have been used in scientific studies as they were conducted back when they were. So if that fits your style or that fits your performance, then it's worth the money. If you're looking for that kind of vintage look and you want to play into the authenticity of the cards themselves. With that, I think I've covered everything I can on the ESP Origins deck. I will leave a link in the description if you want to pick these up. And with that, we'll see you at the next review.